So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the Cambodian visas. From the e-visa to the visa on arrival, the tourist visa, business visa, the visa extensions, and even the work permit, as well as some insider tips so you guys don't have to struggle with the process. Because in 2026, there's only really two options in Cambodia: the tourist visa and the business visa. And although that might sound simple, some people still have questions and still seem to struggle. So let me break this all down for you guys, starting whether you should get the e-visa or just wait and get the visa on arrival at the airport. So before you set foot on Cambodian soil, you can either get an e-visa beforehand or get the visa on arrival at the airport. I'd recommend getting the e-visa done beforehand. You can apply online for both, the tourist visa for 30 days and the initial business visa for 30 days as well. It'll save you time and hassle at the airport. It says it usually takes up to 3 business days to get approved. Mine only took 1 day. And it does cost slightly more than the visa on arrival, but you get peace of mind. The official site I used is on the screen now. It was super easy and simple. Just don't get confused between the e-visa and the business type E-class or type E-visa. I know they can sound or look similar, but they're different. I've done both before. The tourist one cost $35, and then this time around I got the business visa, which cost the same again, $35. Plus both visas have extensions, but they are quite different, and I'll get into that soon. But first, if you do the e-visa, make sure to print off your visa to show immigration, because that'll help things go smooth. And I'll add, both times I've handed the visa that was printed off to them, they didn't even ask me a single question. I assume that's because everything was approved and in order, but also Cambodia isn't as strict as Thailand, for example. But if you do fancy doing visa on arrival, make sure to bring US dollars in cash to pay for it. Now let's discuss the tourist visa. This is the most common visa for travellers visiting Cambodia, for sightseeing, vacations or short stays. It's a single entry only, will last 30 days from the day of your arrival, but can be extended once for another 30 days. And then after that, you will need to leave the country. As I said, the cost for this visa is $35. You can apply online beforehand for this, or get the visa on arrival. Again, the choice is yours. And the requirements are simple. All you need is a valid passport for 6 months, a passport photo, and a completed application form. Some countries you don't even need to get the tourist visa, so it's best to check online beforehand. But if you're from the UK or America, you'll need to get this visa. You're not exempt, I'm afraid. Now onto the business visa, which is also called the E-class or type E visa, which is not to be confused with the e-visa system, because I think that's the confusion some people make. To make sure to get the right visa you're after. This visa is for people who want to work in Cambodia, start a business, are freelancing, or anyone who wants to stay long term, it seems. The initial business visa is valid for 30 days, but can be extended for 1, 3, 6, or even 12 months. You can go to an agency once you're here, they can sort it all out for you. I extended mine for 6 months after I arrived here on my initial 30-day business visa, and it cost me $190. Also, they didn't even ask to see any documents, which was a bit surprising. I even had my rental agreement and my business information ready, in case they asked for it, but they literally sorted out all the paperwork for me. I didn't have to do anything. It really was that simple and easy. I was mind blown. Especially after dealing with Thailand and their process, this was completely different. Now I will say, if you're planning to get an extension, do it as soon as you can, because it can take up to 2 weeks for your passport to get back to you, because you do have to give it over when you're applying. And because I'm in Siem Reap, they have to send it all the way to Phnom Penh and back. So if you don't want to risk overstaying your original visa while you're still waiting for your passport to come back to you, make sure to get that application in process at least 2 weeks before your initial visa runs out, just to avoid overstaying your visa and getting fined. But honestly, within a week or so of arriving, I'd recommend going to an agency and getting it all sorted. Plus, the whole process for me took less than 10 minutes. I walked into the agency, showed them my initial visa certification that you get when you apply for the visa online beforehand, the same one I showed immigration when I was at the airport. Then I gave them my passport, $190, and that was it. Then I got a message 2 weeks later to come back and pick my passport back up, and that was a done deal. Super easy and simple. Now I will admit I was a bit worried about sending my passport off because I've never had to do that before. But everything went fine without any issues. I mean, they do this all the time, it is their job, remember? And I also should mention the agency I used said if for whatever reason my extension got refused or denied, I get a full refund, which was good to know as well. And finally, another advantage for this business visa, unlike the tourist visa, is that it allows multiple entries, if you get the long-term extensions, either the 6 or the 12-month one. So if you're planning to stay here long-term or for work, this is the visa you'll need to get. Now onto the work permit. Because again, I've seen more confusion online about this, and technically you do need a work permit to work in Cambodia on the business visa legally. But I've heard it depends on how long you're staying. For the 6 or 12-month extension, it's recommended to get just so you're fully 100% legal. I know that's for sure. This is what I did once my extension was approved. I went back and sorted out my work permit at the same agency when I picked up my passport. and that process was just as easy. The work permit itself lasts for 12 months, which is the only time frame it covers, but I have read online people are extending for 1 or 3 months, that they don't tend to bother with the work permit. It seems to be a thing if you just get the 6 or the 12-month extension. But again, I don't know if it's worth the risk. I would anyway, just in case. But you can always ask the agency yourself when you extend what they recommend, because they'll be the ones in the know and what you have to do, because it is their job at the end of the day. So they'll be up to date with what you ask to be done for you to be 100% legal. So just ask them when you're here. Everyone is super helpful. I mean, if you haven't been to Cambodia yet, you'll be pleasantly surprised with just how friendly and helpful everyone here is. I'd even go as far as to say the Khmer people are definitely some of the friendliest people in the whole of Southeast Asia. At least from my experience anyway. Now, on to mistakes to avoid. And finally, very quickly, I'll cover some mistakes to avoid when going through this whole process. Starting with something that might be obvious, but it's still worth mentioning. Don't overstay your visa, fines are charged daily and will quickly add up. Remember to bring US dollars in cash for visa on arrival, if you're doing that over getting the e-visa. Don't assume tourist visas can be extended indefinitely, because they can't. Only one extension is allowed. And as I said earlier, don't wait until the last minute to extend your business visa, because you'll be without your passport. And that's the last thing you want to happen, for your initial visa to run out while you don't even have your passport back, and then you know the fines are going to be adding up. It's just not the best situation to be in. And that's it for today's video, covering everything you need to know about Cambodia's visas, how they work, the work permit, and everything else. It's honestly one of, if not the easiest country in Southeast Asia when it comes to long-term visas. So if you end up enjoying the country when you come and visit and want to stay longer, you shouldn't have any issues. It seems to be a simple process, especially when you go through an agency, which I would definitely recommend. And even if you're struggling online to get the business visa, I know many people that get the tourist visa, come in here, go to the agency, and then they can apply for the business visa for you and sort it all out there. So hopefully this video has helped you guys understand a little bit more about Cambodia's visas, work permit, and everything else you need to know in 2026 to stay here long term. And that's it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.